I'm muted. That's why you can't hear me. So, all right. Can you hear me? All right. Sorry about that. I had an emergency phone call. Someone I know had a heart attack. So, they literally called at 11:59. So, um, they are stable. So I know that's going to be the next question. They're stable, but like, it's one of those things. It's always like right as we get on, something major happens. So, but yeah, today we're doing critiques. We have some critiques, and then I have updates. Oh, I have updates, but I forgot my folder. It's in the other room. So with all the, maybe it's in here, maybe it's in my bag. I have a folder full of updates from 3 different publishing houses. I had some amazing meetings last week, and so my goal is to give you the updates on the meeting. Is there a manila folder out there? Can you get me a manila folder? It's like khaki folder. Um, your mom will know. Oh wait, nope, I found it. This might be it. No, it's not. Well, we'll find it. So I have a khaki folder full of wonderful updates from 3 publishing houses. I left it in the other room as I came in here because I had it in my hand when the phone call came on. So that's the update. And let me see, meeting group chat. So let's start with the update. Here it comes. Here we go. Let's start with the updates. Thank you. We'll start with the updates. My wonderful assistant, Carrick, gave me the updates here. So, all right. So I was in Nashville at Killer Nashville 2024 last week. I was in Franklin, Tennessee, I guess. And it was awesome. It was epic. 500 and some people at the conference. And we were talking about mystery. We were talking about thriller, suspense, horror, children's picture books. There was somebody writing horror children's picture books, not like scary horror, but like children's horror, which is now a thing. And it's a thing in the market now. But before that, I used that as an opportunity to go to Nashville because of the conference. And so I met with Thomas Nelson. I met with Hachette Nashville, and I met with Lifeway Publishing. So I have some updates. So anyone want me to give one of those updates first? Let me know in the chat. Is there one you'd like to know about first or more? Because I spent 2 hours with Thomas Nelson. I spent over an hour, well over an hour with Hachette, and actually well over an hour with Lifeway. So I had some really good meetings. It was wonderful. And so I got lots of information. So I took my folder. I don't know if you can see it. It's all blurred out mine. All this is notes. And then all this is notes. And there, those are how I keep notes. Anything children's, which is the most exciting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, pretty much it's all children's. Those were mainly children's editors I met with. Actually, yeah, just really children's editors, children's teams and editors that I met with. So go children's. All right, let's go with Thomas Nelson first. Thomas Nelson is one of the biggest. It's with part of HarperCollins Publishing, and so it's HarperCollins Nashville division. And then I get there, and it's like locked down like Fort Knox, and so they open the doors like, you're the first person we've met with since COVID. So I'm like, the building's like empty of people, and there's like a handful of people, on the second floor, and like you can tell they haven't met with anybody in a while. I'm like, yeah, we just usually tell people no, which was nice. So I have a good relationship with them, and we do a lot of projects with them. So I was able to get in and have the first meeting since COVID. So that's awesome. So I was really excited about it. But let me tell you some of the things about Thomas Nelson for you. This is going to be for children's, YA, and middle grade. All right, here we go. Some things that are trending right now for them is the need for books about felt needs for parents, and then felt needs for children, teenagers, and adolescents. They've seen an uptick in needs of anxiety, books for anxiety, books about on things like perfectionism, books on things like making mistakes, books about compassion, books about bullying, books about dealing with the pressure for success. Some of these are going to be more towards middle grade than YA. Books that that talk to the average child. You know, a lot of books are about being exceptional or above average, and some are about being like how to deal with not being, you know, being on the lower end. Like, and so they said there's kind of like books for kids who are in all the clubs and books for kids who are in no clubs. What about the books for the kids that are just in some clubs and maybe play one sport and just do one thing? And so what about books for kids like that? So that's kind of something for middle grade comparison, you know, comparing yourself to other people is a topic. And then suicidal ideation and topics like that are felt needs are things they're looking for. Thomas Nelson in particular is a more Christian imprint, but they're about 70% religious content or religious esque content, and then 30% just general market content. So the 70 would be very light, I think, on religious content though. What they're also seeing is they're seeing the need for books about community, need for books about nature that include nature. And then there's been a rise in homeschool. So more products that reach the homeschool market. Let's see what else. I'm trying to see. Let's see what else. I got a whole bunch of notes. Some of what they're looking for is basically they said, if you look at the broader general market for them and you see things that are being published, they would be interested in seeing a pitch. So similar to something that's a popular series, another publisher, or a popular idea. So think things like science and nature and those type of things. Infographic books like that. That's really where they would like to see more happen. So that's the gist of the Thomas Nelson. Yeah. If you have any specific questions, you can ask me in the chat. I'll be glad to answer. I was with them for 2 hours. A lot of it, I ran into somebody from my hometown on the team. So now like someone from my hometown that's like 2 years younger than me is on the team. So now like we're like best friends. So I was like, we grew up the same place. I coached high school football at her high school. So I actually coached there when she graduated high school. So it's pretty epic. So it was pretty wild to connect with her. So yeah, that was fun. Next, we'll switch. Let's go to Hachette. Hachette. All right. So Hachette's imprint that I talked to in particular was Worthy. And what has happened with them is they've went from 6 editors to 1. So they have significantly reduced their footprint. They've dropped about 10 to 12 new titles per year, down from like 30. So significant reduction. And that's one thing that was pretty true across the board. All publishing houses have reduced their publishing footprint. They're not publishing anywhere near as many as they were before COVID. And so the big thing is platform. And I know everybody tries to go to conferences and they hear you don't have to have a platform to get published. That is not anything what I heard. I took an author with me who lives in Nashville. It was pretty clear. You need to have a platform, and you need to have a sales history, or you just need to have an amazing idea. But that's the only 3 ways you're getting into publishing right now. And so those are the things. If you don't have the platform and you don't have the sales history, then you gotta have a fantastic idea that is speaking to these things that I'm talking about, the felt needs, for Thomas Nelson. Now, Worthy's got a little bit different needs. Here are their needs. They need more books about family values. They love books that have to do with holiday books with a fresh approach, inspirational books. They're doing board and picture books, but board books are pretty much reserved for they do them in-house or they put a large celebrity on it. But because pretty much across the board for all 3 publishers, board books are something they're doing in-house or they're using a large celebrity for. They are not going to bring in an author for the most part for those, unless it's already somebody they're doing a work for hire and they've got an established relationship with, because the margins are so low in board books. So, and this is one of the things I think I've been telling some of my authors, the board books are kind of out right now. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. Right, those 3, they're out. Picture books that they have a better, because the reason is board books sell for $9.99. They're expensive to produce. The margins narrow, razor thin. They don't want to pay any royalties to somebody or pay them a fee. They just want to do it in house. Picture books you sell for $17.99, $21.99, $18.99. So even though they're more expensive to produce, the margin's higher. They make more money. So So that's kind of, yeah. But um, they said they really not looking for middle grade right now. They've really struggled with it. Um, they are pretty much doing a lot of work for hire. And royalty, for them to be a royalty contract, it's got to speak to those regular seasonal titles that sell every year, like holidays, like family values, like, and what they want is they want books that connect to something, connect to a holiday, connect to a season, so that although it may not be about the holiday or season, that they can market it during that holiday or season. So, like, for example, I had a follow up already with one of these because they made some requests from some of my clients, and they're like, "Can we connect this to Easter?" It's not an Easter book, but can we put bunnies and eggs in the book so that they can market it? Can there be bunnies and eggs in the cover? So, it can go on the shelf at Easter, even though it's really not an Easter book. Like, they're asking, how do we connect this to a sales season that we know we can get it on the shelf? Um, Both publishers talked about the difference between mass market books and their regular books. Mass market books are going to be the things you see in like the bookstores, like, or they're going to see them in like Sam's Club, Walmart, Costco, Meyer, Target. Those are mass market. Those are really basically big name celebrity books and books that have clear titles that you know exactly what you're getting and really speak to one of these seasons or felt needs that everybody's just going to continue to come back to. And so, yeah, that is kind of the gist of Worthy. We really just talked more about a lot of my author projects there. And then those are their that's what they're looking for though, for their 10 to 12 titles. But a lot of those are coming out, their 10 to 12 new titles. Over half of those are going to be coming out from projects they've already got from celebrities or in-house. So there's probably 5 or 6 a year that they're putting out that can come from people outside of that, which is it's tight. So you gotta be one of those people with a great idea, great hook. Next, Lifeway. Lifeway, of the three, Lifeway is going to be the most religious market publisher in it. They're going to be more geared to that, but they also are doing general market books. So that's something to be aware of for those of you who write both markets. Um, they like to have their books. They ask this big question: where does this fit in the life of the church? Because they do a lot of church products. So where does it fit in the life of church? How can we sell it in the schedule of a church, like a baby dedication, a promotion Sunday? Where does this fit? They want to answer that question. So their authors need to be able to answer that question. How can we sell this to their massive platform? Lifeway is the publishing imprint of the Southern Baptist Convention, which is the largest group of churches, largest denomination of churches in the United States by far, millions and millions of people. So this is the publishing house that feeds them content and makes it for them. They still like their mass market books. For mass market books, which would be the ones for like Target, Costco, those they look for books about love, seasonal books, bedtime books, animal books, really clear titles. They don't like abstract titles for those type of things. They're not going to get purchased for that. And because they are a SBC publisher, they're looking for faith life issues. So things that families walk through, faith life issues. They said big thing that they love, words that tend to sell well: mommy, daddy, prayer. Those tend to sell well for books. Love, of course. And they also do middle grade and YA. Most of what I was just saying is kind of fits all their categories. They also do middle grade and YA, although they've got a struggle right now. Everybody's got a struggle with middle grade right now. The market was flooded with middle grade, and then like everybody's struggling to sell it. So the pullback from all three of these publishers is middle grade is maybe if we found the right perfect thing, but they'd have to do a lot of convincing their sales team to even purchase the book because they don't know what their end game is for it. YA is still some opportunities. So those of you who YA, but really it seems like the biggest opportunity for YA right now would be in nonfiction for both Thomas Nelson and Lifeway. Worthy's not really touching YA. It'd be a different imprint. Sorry, my wife needs a code. So that's kind of the updates. If you have any questions about those, throw them in the chat. So throw them in the chat and we'll kind of go from there. Those are the updates I have for all of you guys. So My sound is cutting in and out a little bit. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me fine?
I can hear you. It feels like it gets softer at
Oh,
some point.
that might just be me. I'll move my mic closer.
That was super good.
I mean, it was a lot. It was like 5 hours of meetings total between 3 companies. So I was having a blast. You missed my well, I mean, I didn't say this. So the first one I went to, I was the first meeting for like since COVID. Thomas Nelson. They're like, yeah, we haven't had people here. And you could tell there was like nobody in the parking lot. So and then I went to coffee with the editor at Hachette, and we have coffee, and she goes, I don't do this. I was like, what? She goes, you're one of the few people I would meet with. I get requests all the time. I just say no. She's like, you're one of the few people. And I'm like, I'm sitting there with a client. And so I'm like, this is always great for a client to hear you say, like a publisher say, like, you're one of the few agents I would ever meet with.
Yeah.
And so like, I think I'm like one of two she's met with since COVID too. So I'm like, well, thank you for taking the time. So we had a nice coffee and hung out, and it's good to have those kind of relationships. As you know, I've worked hard to build those relationships over the last 7, 8 years. So it's fun to hear it pays off, and I get the meetings. I'm probably going to head to Grand Rapids for some more meetings here soon, based on my conversation with HarperCollins. They have in their division in Grand Rapids, and I'm doing some projects with them. So I'm going to try to head up there in about a couple of weeks.
I actually want to go with you to some of those. So
Sounds like Bethany needs to come up.
I might be going to Michigan.
Yeah. So those are the updates. If you have any questions, you feel free to ask them the rest of the time. We're going to critique some books now, but like I'm willing to give, like, your parser is rare, so I'm not keeping anything back. Like, I'm not holding anything. There was just a lot of conversations. So if you've got a specific question, you can ask it on this chat, or you can bring it next week. You could ask. That'd be fine. You say, hey, I wanted to follow up about that. Right now, they're all kind of getting back to work, and then Labor Day's hitting. So now is a good time to pitch, though. I would say post Labor Day, if you've got ready projects, it's time to pitch.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be super busy pitching the next couple weeks. So I've got a lot of good projects out for my authors. I got kind of my hit list. These are the things that I'm pitching. So I've got I didn't show you the interior, but this is just like a whole bunch of ideas of books. So from clients.
It's so fun. I call this my book of secrets.
So I'm literally just like, let me hand this out to you. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. And so, yeah, it's good.
I have an update from Harvest House.
Go for it.
Would this be a good time?
Well, you met with Harvest House. Well, did you talk last week about the meeting you had?
Mm-mm.
No, that was, so you have, yeah, let's hear about Harvest House. This is another publisher.
I also met first, though, in the general market, I met with an editor at Zando, which is an independent house, and we were talking about middle grade and YA. And they, again, I think piggybacking off of what you said about the market, they just had their main person leave. So they have shrunk, and they're small anyway. They've shrunk from like 10 to 12 to like 4 to 5 titles. And so like it has to be like the title for it to hit. So I just want to when I heard you say that, I was like, yep.
That is the thing. It's got to be, if they're acquiring something right now, you have to have that high concept mass market project, like you just do. And if you're just like, well, this is just a cute book, they don't want cute books.
No,
they're not acquiring them. It's great that you write cute books. They want the next thing that's going to be the next big seller. And if you're not writing it, they're not publishing it. And that's hard, because like, I mean, I'm one that's got 40, 50 books, children's books just sitting in the queue. But the truth is, it's gotta be hitting those needs, or it's gotta be just like, so like, wow, that's just a great idea. Let's do it. That's what they're acquiring.
I know we talk a lot about children's because Kyle and I really love the kidlit space a lot. And there's not a lot of agents that do kidlit in both markets. So, but today we're going to talk about nonfiction for adults, because that is what Harvest House focuses on, is on that gift market, inspirational market. It was the best call. I think I talked about it, but I didn't go into depth last week. Definitely go check out Harvest House. Look at their look at their catalogs, because they're always looking for like those gifty things that people can buy. Maybe impulse purchases, although she didn't use that word, but that would be more like CA gifts. If you're looking at like devotionals, they're looking for ones that people are just going to pick up off, that supermarket shelf to give as a gift. That's really where their kind of focus is. So with Harvest House, they have 2 different divisions, and the editor I was talking to is in charge of gift and specialty. So they do children's with Harvest Kids, but also family and lifestyle. So we talked about cookbooks, which I love the cookbook space. Basically, she said anything that women want to read about. And I'm not trying to be stereotypical or, don't come at me for saying that, but anything that like the women's magazines cover, that's the kind of books they're looking for, if that makes sense. So like the home decor space, they want to build categories with people. So if you go back and look at it's really important if you're going to pitch to this particular house that you go look at what they already have on the shelves, who's doing those projects, and then could you build a category similar or within that space? So it kind of could build out a brand a little bit. Like that's a really big thing. And I can clarify if anyone has like questions about what that means.
Yeah, could you?
So like, let's say home decor, and someone is already kind of doing something about like maybe home renovation, which I don't know if that falls under the decor. I'm kind of making this up. But like, let's say someone's already got like the home renovation. So maybe you're like, okay, well, what's the next category within that like home space? Maybe it's decorating kitchens on a budget, or how to spruce up your home under $500. It's something that's like super easy to be like, oh, I need that, I want that, kind of like you would see like a magazine headline. Where can you kind of like focus within a category? Did that make more sense, or did it make it worse?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I was just trying to make sure it made sense for everybody. So,
they love devotionals, which is good because there's a few houses in the Christian market who, even though they have devotionals on their front homepage and maybe in their catalog, they've told me like that they're not really doing devotionals anymore and they're not looking for them. So I feel like the devotional space has kind of shrunk in terms of what I thought it was. I thought it was bigger than it was.
no, and here's why the
Calm down.
devotional space has shrunk is
Can you
because
come on camera?
yeah,
There you go.
everybody and their brother gives out free stuff, and with the rise of YouVersion, it's really hurt that space. Like, to create a devotional product now, you have to have a market that is underserved on YouVersion, and you have to have a market. Really have to have some kind of platform behind it these days, or just a really unique idea. They're like, oh yeah, I would get behind that. Like, I saw one of my clients' books at Barnes and Noble in the store. I can get you a picture. I'll show you. Where's my phone? Where'd my phone go? I know I lost my phone. Oh, my wife took it she needed a code. But I saw one of my clients' books, so I took a picture, and it was a really cool devotional. It's called Selfie, and it's just all about yourself and self-image, and it's really sparkly pink book. It's great. It's Tessa Emily Hall. Used to work with us as an agent. Now she's an independent editor, and like it was a really cool idea, and so that's still selling after, I don't know, 5 years. It's still out there, but it was pretty cool to see it. So so that's the kind of thing they're looking for if they're going to go into.
I missed that last part.
If they're going to go into devotional space, that's the kind of thing.
The other thing she talked about, this was the best meeting one of the best meetings I've ever had. I had 4 pages of notes, and usually I get like a page, maybe 2. They've got really good selling ability for holiday. And so again, kind of just like what Kyle said, it's like, what's the new spin? What's the new thing that's going to make this a holiday book that people will set out year after year? And like, I'm one of those people that puts books on like the mantle, and I even pack them up with my holiday decor, and then I bring them out, for the different holidays. And so like, she didn't talk about that, but that's what I thought of when she said that, because I like to have holiday books that I display seasonally. So what are the books that people are going to keep coming back to and that also have a fresh take? The how-to books, even though it's a religious publisher. Oh, this is for those of you who are just listening, Kyle's showing a picture
of your selfie. I found
Love Your Selfie.
She bought the phone back. So
they don't have to have like a spiritual doctrine to them if they're like on the how-to book, because like you're not picking up like a cookbook or like a how to do something and like looking for Bible verses in it. Like you're looking for how to do something. So not, like believers who write general market books are totally welcome there, which I was really excited about because I have a good number of people who fit that on my list. And just a couple more things. Let me see. Platform is a plus. Kyle said this to me on the phone, I think, and I mentioned it out loud on Writer's Chat yesterday because I talked about manuscript wish lists on Writer's Chat, which is on our Serious Writer YouTube. You said something to me, Kyle, that was a light bulb moment for me, because I knew the things, but I had not connected like the direct line from here to here. And
Right.
we're talking about platform, because in the Christian market, everyone wants platform. It doesn't matter if it's children's, middle grade, YA, fiction, nonfiction, all of it. In the general market, that's not the feedback that I'm getting from editors. They don't prioritize that as much, even though you still have to have it so you can sell books and get a second book deal. But like the conversation about marketing and platform is completely different, except for nonfiction. However, on the phone, after you were meeting with these editors, what you said is the reason in the Christian market it's vital for everything is because we've lost the bookstores. Like we
Yeah.
don't have the bookstores anymore. The Christian bookstores have almost all but shut down. Are there any left besides maybe some small independent ones like
Um,
mom and pops?
maybe Berea.
I don't even know that one.
Yeah, maybe Berea.
Is that where you live?
No, that'd be out west. There's some out Mardell, I think is out west, and
Mhm.
Berea. There's some small ones, but there's not many. So I mean, the majority of the publishers, even Thomas Nelson, which is HarperCollins, is like Amazon's where we sell books, and that's where we sell books. I mean, if you're not like, because like uh one of the editors was like, we don't even know what's going to happen with Barnes and Noble. Like Barnes and Noble's been holding steady, but like in no way, shape, or form is Barnes and Noble doing like great. They're they're doing okay, but like they got a resurgence since COVID. But any kind of economic downturn will probably shut down Barnes and Noble. So
They're
like that's how bad the state it was in. I mean, it was going bankrupt, and then COVID hit, and people went back to reading. So they got. I mean, Barnes and Noble got saved by COVID. Like what, like it or not, it happened. Everybody recognizes that. So like everybody wants their book on a bookshelf at a bookstore. That's what everybody wants. But like they don't. I just saw my book at a bookstore. I took a picture of my book. Yeah. I got my book too. You want to see it?
yeah, show us.
Okay, but it's not going to be a good story. Let me show. So here's my book. uh, here's my book. This is at the Detroit airport. So signed by author copy, which means it's been there since I signed it last time.
Oh no.
There were two, so now we're down to one. But I think I signed it. When was I with my kids? I signed it in February. So I mean, they sold one book since February. So although it's great, just because it's at a bookstore doesn't mean it's moving, you know. And of
Um,
course, I did the thing. I turned my book out so you could see the cover, so it's sell. So hopefully they'll order another one. But that's kind of what happens. So just because you're on the shelf, like the key is, can your book sell? Is it easy? Like, is it easy to decide to buy that book by the cover? Um, like, is it going to be like something that you're going to walk by a bookstore and just pick it up? And that is an attractional cover, is attractional title. Those are important things. So,
Speaking
um,
of Barnes and Noble, the man in Publishers Lunch, you may have seen this, but he's the man who built it into a book selling powerhouse. His name was Lynn Riggio. He just passed away after a battle with Alzheimer's, and it said he, in addition to building and running Barnes and Noble, he also founded Barnes and Noble College Booksellers, the MBS Textbooks Exchange, and GameStop. So that was in the
pretty
news.
epic.
That was in the news
Did you
about
have anything more for your meeting with Harvest House?
two more.
Okay. Then we'll get to Sandra's question.
The one thing that she said that platform, the one exception to the platform would be books, and she specifically gave this one as an example, just as an example, like 1 minute prayers for women with cancer. Like nobody cares about your credentials for that book. They only want it because they want 1 minute prayers because someone
your credentials are you probably had cancer and
probably did. So like she said, nobody cares who wrote that book. They're not buying it based on who wrote it. They're buying it based on the topic.
All that that's felt needs.
Felt need. So that kind of thing can kind of like get you in the door with that. So that was a big one. There's so many things, but like, and then one other thing, because some of this is more on the business side, talking about platforms. So we dove into which social media platforms are the best for their audience. Surprisingly, because I told you HarperCollins told us, told an agent friend that in nonfiction, like they don't even count Facebook. They don't even look at it. However, for Harvest House, their book buyers are still on Facebook. So Facebook is,
book buyers are older
because they're older and they're buying these kind of gifty things. And so for them, they do emphasize Facebook. They do not emphasize YouTube as much. This is the gold. Like, this is why meeting with editors, this is like candy. I don't know, because like this means that if I'm gonna pitch to Harvest House, I'm gonna prioritize their Facebook, not prioritize so much their YouTube, or from, so you do need to have a presence on all the platforms, but you really have to know who your audience is. Here's the thing though, the audience on Facebook is older. You have got to make sure you're still catching that younger audience though, because they're going to age up as well. Like, you don't want to put all your stock like into Facebook and then you don't have any audience, you're starting over with them. So those are kind of like the big highlights out of 4 pages of notes. I'll have to like send you a copy of my.
I definitely need to send them.
I need yours too. Yeah.
I have another publisher. I forgot. I met with another publisher. I just had so many, I forgot. I met with a publisher called Titletown Publishing. They're out of Wisconsin, and they exclusively do true crime, like mystery suspense. They do some children's too, but they're really looking kind of for felt need things. And they are a small publisher. She's like, our website's terrible. We know it. We're working on it. She goes, but because we focus on true crime and that and related genres to that, we have a very devoted following. So she goes, yeah, I can't do anything with fiction, like a lot of fiction. Like if it's crime fiction, potentially, if it's mystery, but like that, it's gotta be related to our core thing that we do. But like, we love, she goes, if you get true crime, send it to me. And like, she goes, I can sell 5,000 copies. So of it, like we got a devoted following. So, so that's it. If you're writing true crime, Titletown Publishing, you don't actually have to have an agent to work with them. But I would say if you send to them and you need help, you might want to reach out to us. Cause, I taught, one of the things I did at Killer Nashville was taught, a workshop with another agent on what you need to know before signing a contract. And like everyone that walked out of the thing went to the guy who led the conference, is like, that was the best session and everyone should have taken it. Because essentially we're just telling them like the dangers of publishing and how it's not in your favor. It's, like how the contracts are so slanted to the publisher's favor, and how, and like we agreed. I've never met this guy, and we were like totally in sync. I was like, this guy's my new best friend. And everything we said, we like, yeah, I second that. Like we were so on the same, and he's been doing this longer than I have. He's been doing it for like 30 years. And it's just like, I thought it was a good session. As somebody, if I was an author, I'd be like, that was a good session. But that's kind of what, like, you need to know these things. So we pretty much told the whole group, if you get a contract, go get an agent. Like if you get a real contract from a real publishing house that's legitimate, go and get an agent. Use it to get an agent who will protect you. Like, you want to be protected. And Bethany's seen the reality of this real hard in her early days of doing this. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm still an associate agent, what we call them baby agents, with my other baby agent friends, and I'm 2 years in. And every new contract that comes in, I'm like, I'm going to do this one on my own. And there's always something different. There's a different wording. And I'm like, I can't, I have to like even with the one like we're going to talk about later or tomorrow, Kyle, like the wording of it, I was like, there's no way anyone could ever sign this contract ever. Like how? And I have to figure out like the best way to go about it. So
you're
like,
not gonna like it because I don't do a lot of contracts with publisher because of their contracts. So
I can so never deleted.
Yeah, you can get it changed. Hopefully,
got some negotiations happening. Okay, but I know we have critiques to get to, and y'all been so patient, and we're so.
Let me answer this question about the airport. You don't get into the airport. They work with companies that stock those. So companies that stock the airport bookstores acquire the books.
Not Chosen. I'm sorry.
Choice does a little tiny rack of them typically. And one store I was in didn't even have any Choice books. There are companies who buy books and have contracts with all those stores, and they usually, with each company, has their own contracts, and they put the books in the stores. It's not like you can go in and they'll request yours. Maybe if you're a local airport, like I'm near Detroit. Detroit carries my book, not because I asked them, because it's Michigan football, and somebody decided to put it in there, but it's great for me. But if they quit carrying it, I'll go back in and mention, hey, by the way, carry this book. So that's just something to be aware of. So you can't really get them in there unless you go through the companies. And I will say this, all three companies told me that ReaderLink is the way they're buying books right now. ReaderLink. So it used to be It used to be you would go to like for big box retailers. You could go to, if I was a publishing house, I could go to Walmart and say, hey, I'd like you to look at these books and carry these books. Now Walmart just contracts and Sam's Club just contracts, and those companies contract ReaderLink, which is a service. ReaderLink goes and buys the books. They decide what's happening. So if ReaderLink doesn't want it, it's not ever going to get in. And so everybody's trying to create the products that ReaderLink wants. So literally, ReaderLink just tells them, this is what's trending. This is what we'd like to see more books on. And then every publisher tries to do that. So a lot of what they're all looking for is the same thing. And they all mentioned, well, ReaderLink said they're looking for this. ReaderLink said they're looking for this. So they're looking for that from me because they're trying to get new projects to go to ReaderLink to sell above all the other exact. So when you think, oh, I wrote a good book, why didn't it get sold? Because everybody's looking for the same things to serve to ReaderLink to get into the same stores. So it's like, you have to have the best project. You have to have the best pitch, which means if you're writing a lot of books, you're going to keep writing and writing until you have that one that's like above the rest. And that's just the way it works. That's harder in children's because it means you're going to have 50, 60, 100 books unsold. And I said that to the one because all of these people know I'm an author because they all knew me as an author first. So I said to the editor that I'm closest with, who I went to Bologna with 1 year, we went to the book fair, and I'm like, I've got like 50 books just on the shelf. She goes, I know everybody does. Like, it's just kind of the way it is. It's just the reality of the industry. I don't think it's a bad thing because numbers are up, sales are up. And we've been talking about this. The rich are just getting richer, but they're still selling books. It's just a matter, if you know how the business works, you're better positioned to write and be successful in the coming. So the reason we're telling you all this stuff is you literally are getting what I'm telling my clients. So yeah, we're helping you. Like, go forth and write these things. Good luck. We hope you have success. We hope you write great projects. I hope one of you writes the next big thing. And you could say, well, I was on Serious Writer. That's why I wrote it. Well, great. We want you to have that kind of success because that success, we share in it, and we can celebrate it. So it's awesome.
I actually have a big newsletter that I need to send out with all these updates. So you guys actually heard it first. Yeah. I'm like, I have so many things I need to tell. Actually, so speaking of the publishing business, I saw that Penguin Random House is doing really, really well. And they're actually investing more into source books. So that's like a 2 minute.
Yeah, I just did
that. So yeah, you saw that too. So check out source books. It's general market, but they are very commercial. And
very commercial.
Keep an eye on like the kinds of things that they're doing, especially because Kyle said some of these Christian publishers are now saying, hey, what is the general market doing? Can we do a version over here? Source books would be a great place to go look and see what's going on for that. Oh, and
I'll have to tell you, and then we'll go into the critiques.
Yeah.
The agent I was talking to, he's like, I've never done a deal with Penguin. He's like sharing all this stuff about Penguin. And I'm like, he's like, what about you? I was like, oh, I don't know. We've done five or seven deals with Penguin here in the last couple of years. And I'm like, but he's been doing it forever and never done a deal with Penguin. So I'm like, we have a very limited, his scope is different. And so he has a very narrow window of people that he works with. He's got great relationships, and that's who he sells to. Like, he doesn't really need to go outside of it. He knows what they're looking for. He's servicing these companies, and they say, we're looking for this. He goes, finds it, sells it. Yep. And so that's kind of how this works for me. I've got my relationships. So, all right. Critique time. I know we got to get to critiques.
Oh, we do. That went fast.
Yeah. Sorry. We're too excited to talk about that stuff. So I hope that's interesting for everybody. Mm-hmm. Oh. All right. Critique time.
Critiques.
You want to share your screen? You want me?
I can share the one for the 4th of July if you want to grab the one that's in the inbox, because I'd have to share my entire email.
Yeah.
All right, let me grab this one. It's Critique Week. All right. Okay, let me make this a little bit bigger. So this critique is a word book, 171 words. It's called 4th of July. Our nation's birthday is 4th of July. Breezes blow flags as they flutter and fly. Decorate wagons in blue, white, and red. Wear bopper stars on the top of your head. Big parade starts with the siren's first blast. Stand for the flag when the soldiers march past. Floats and fire engines and loud marching bands. Little cars zip by as you clap your hands. Listen to tales of how our country grew. Folks took a chance when this land was still new. People on ships, then in wagons and trains, crossing the mountains, the rivers, and plains. All 50 states with one central call, liberty, justice, and freedom for all. I love that. I love that one.
I like that pair.
Yeah. Liberty, just, oh, sorry. Spread out the food. It's time to eat. Tacos, samosa, sticky rice treat. Taste everything. Eat a stick of ice cream. Together we share the American dream. Lie on a blanket and wait in the dark. First there's a bang, then a faint shooting spark. Colorful fireworks spangle the sky. Great verb. We love our land. It's the 4th of July. I love this. I think there's only one spot up at the top where I felt like I had
Yeah, you stuttered like a couple times.
I had a beat missing.
I thought the beat was off a bit. It might be how you read it, but
I think it was
it feels like the syllables might be on, but the rhyme and meter might be off in a couple places, which is, it's not just a syllable. Sometimes people just try to do the syllable thing. You know,
yeah.
I got my
It's the
syllables,
beat.
but
Yeah.
you got to have the rhyme and meter. They got the accents have to be at the right places. And I think that's why you stumbled. I don't think the syllables were different. I think it was a rhyme and meter thing. So that'd be what I would say earlier on. There's some things I really love about this. There's some things that I think would need a little more explanation, like taco, samosa, sticky rice treat. There's no real context about, like, those are different, like the melting pot type deal with America. So you might get away with it in the pitch, but like, it's kind of a random, it's just in there. And like, there's no context to what it is for a kid who doesn't understand that we're melting pot. Like, and I have never been to any parade 4th of July where there's tacos, samosas, or sticky rice treats. So
hamburgers, hot dogs, popcorn.
Yeah. I mean, the typical American thing is going to be hamburgers, hot dogs, and corn.
Salads. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I love that idea of this is, we're a melting pot, like, but I would think that you would need to, across the width and breadth of America, those three are probably not going to be the majority thing that are thought of. So just be aware. I actually love the idea of doing those, but I feel like then it should be mentioned that they're the melting pot or the unique blend of cultures. It's hard because you got to explain this to a child. So yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. I would love to see that fleshed out more, where I think you got to workshop that a little bit, but we are becoming more diverse culturally as America. And so having that in there, I think is great. I don't know whose that is. So like, I don't
it's
know.
Robin's.
Oh, it's Robin. So yeah, I don't know who I'm speaking to, but somebody I'm speaking to. So that would be the thoughts, but
she said, yeah. Can this expand to a regular book if she could expand the melting pot? I think you have room to do that.
Yeah. I mean, based on the feedback, I mean, the problem is Bethy's had a couple meetings in the general market, where the general market likes board books right now. The general market also sells a whole bunch more and pays a whole bunch more. Yeah. So like, not necessarily for picture books, but I mean, when you have a publisher selling 25,000, 50,000 copies of a book with a low margin, there's still room to work with an author. Mm-hmm. When you have a religious publisher selling 3,000 to 5,000, there's no room. So it's the difference in the size and the width and breadth of a company. So right. The great thing is we work in both markets. And so the problem is, though, not everybody, like sometimes people think, well, because it's the general market these are selling, I can sell in the religious market. They can't. They're way different markets. If you have the meetings, like we're heading to New York here in the next month, and we're going to have meetings with general market publishers, and it's going to be completely different meetings, completely different information. So that's kind of the way it goes. But yeah,
I was looking at this because we have the 2026 is the Sesquicentennial, whatever that is.
Yes. Yep.
250th anniversary. And so I was trying to pitch something now. I'd much rather pitch a picture book than a board book, because as you say, board books, they'll just take the best 6 lines out of that and publish it themselves. So if I could expand more on,
yeah, you could expand it as a picture book, okay. And then if it does well as a picture book, or they think it will, they'll do a board book version. So they were pretty clear about that. If the picture book does well, we'll do a board book.
Okay,
there'll be a board book.
Well, I'll expand it and pitch it as a picture.
Yeah, I mean, that's a cute idea. Then you can really flesh that out. You don't have to like talk about that, because that's gonna be in images, right? Okay. So you just kind of have to get the idea of the kids, like America's, different, diverse. So
right. And in Chicago, what people eat for 4th of July is what they eat regular. If you're down on the lakefront, there's all kinds of stuff down there, and it includes tacos and Chinese food, and it's the whole plethora.
It's different city versus rural America. Yeah.
food trucks would let you tie in the entire thing because there's always
Brilliant.
diverse food.
Thank you.
I loved the Spangle, and there were a couple lines in here, Robin, where I was like, "Oh, that was good." I mentioned one of them. There was one earlier.
Thank you.
Super good.
All right.
I mean, I think it's cute. It's just general market that's going to have a better opportunity that will.
Oh gosh, yes.
And it really has a general market pitch, so
it will be a general market pitch for sure. Okay. All right. I'll keep working. Thank you.
All right. So next one, don't mess with Granny.
So this one, I'll set it up for us. This is a critique that we did in a previous month. And she asked if she could like do revisions and bring it back. And I was like, yes, because that's exactly why we do this, is to kind of help you workshop projects. So just to let people know, I won't read the entire email. I'll just mention a couple of the changes that she had made. The first one was like, don't mess with Granny Bunny, which is a rewrite of the one that we shared, which was don't mess with Nona Bunny. And then she also had the Night the Owls Dance, which was a poem, but she rewrote it in prose. So we have the animals are not talking to each other. That was a feedback that you had given. Also changing Nona to Grandma. And then Robin had suggested changing the farmer to maybe a dog or another bunny to get rid of the animals talking to people. And then in her email, which I thought was funny, she said, Bethany wanted the bunnies to be naughtier, and I did want the bunnies to be naughtier. So do you have this one pulled up in a way where we can show the screen?
Granny Bunny? Or the other one?
Either. Let me make sure you can share. Okay.
I had a thought on this one because I was like looking through it. My thought on this one was.
Do you want to read it?
Well, we can talk about don't mess with Granny Bunny and talk about the theme of it. When it comes to Halloween is not a big sales season for books. It's not as big as Easter and Christmas, but it is a season. So, just thinking through the pitch, make sure you mention things that are Halloween, like fall oriented. So vegetables and fruits, like it's time to gather his vegetables. Father Bunny's happy because it's time to gather his vegetables. Maybe it's time to gather his pumpkins, right? His corn. Maybe draw more attention to the actual things that are going to be drawn in the image to steer, because Father Bunny gathers his vegetables and brings them into his barn. Those are give the vegetable. We've got carrots, but carrots aren't necessarily that'd be more Easter of a even though they're not grown in the spring. I mean, they are planted in the spring. They'd be harvested in the fall like everything else. But when we think about when stuff like this sells, you usually see carrots selling at Easter time with bunnies. So that's some of the things to be aware of just after the conversations I've had. Bunnies, for a lot of them, are going to position a title for Easter, not necessarily Halloween. So I think that's good feedback for this, is to think through like what do you have that would spark the sales season that it's in. So I think that's helpful to think through. And then you want to do the Night the Owls Dance.
I mean, did you want to read them out loud?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I can read it. I'll read let me read the Night the Owls Dance.
Okay.
I'm hold on. I'm going to pause the recording real quick.
There we go.
Okay. Can you see like one email or like one?
Yeah, I'm going to read off yours. Yep. I can see yours. Go ahead.
Okay. The Night the Owls Dance. Little Owl snuggled close to Mama Owl. They were out earlier than usual. Mama said they needed a good view of the people parade. All of the owls in the area were there, silently sitting on branches, waiting and watching. Please be as quiet as you can, Little Owl. It's important the people don't see us, especially tonight. You'll scare them if they see you tonight, Mama Owl said in a hushed tone. I'm not scary, Little Owl whispered, his big round eyes widening. People are scary. One of the older male owls quietly landed on a branch near them. Ah, Little Owl's first dance, is it not? The old owl said. The little fella is in for a fun night. I'm not that little anymore. I can eat a mouse whole, Little Owl whispered proudly. As the evening grew darker, strange things began to happen. A man came out of his house carrying a pumpkin. He lit a small fire and put it inside. He placed the pumpkin near his front door. The fire glowed and illuminated a strange face. Oh, Little Owl almost let out a screech. Shh. Mama Owl looked at him sternly. The old owl chuckled. Things are going to get worse, he whispered. Doors began to open and people started to come out of their houses. Some of the children had bright colors on their faces. Others had scary-looking coverings on their head. A little girl looked like a giant butterfly. A little boy looked like a train. What's wrong with them? Little Owl said with concern. Are they molting? Do people turn into butterflies like a caterpillar? Are they getting new skin like a snake? The old owl tried not to laugh. The people walked from house to house. The children with bags in their hands knocked on the doors, yelling, trick or treat. The people inside would throw something into the bags. What are they throwing at the little ones? Little Owl asked. I think it's some kind of food, Mama said. Are they learning how to hunt? Don't try to make sense of people. It's impossible. I'm going to sneeze. I'm so sorry. Can you keep reading?
Said the old owl. Finally, the people went inside. The owls waited until there were no more people to be seen, and they began to move. Quick, to the old oak tree. Little Owl heard them calling to each other. It's time to go, Little Owl, said Mama Owl. Follow me. Little Owl and Mama Owl flew to a branch on an old oak tree, where the owls lined the branches. They began to call to one another between hoots of joy. It's time for the dance. The people went back inside, so we no longer have to hide. The night belongs to the owls. The owls began to shuffle up and down the branches. Little Owl went to the lower branches with the other young owls. They hopped and shuffled their feet, sometimes bumping into each other, giggling. The older owls began to jump off the branches and soar high in the sky, hooting happily as they went. Soon the younger owls joined them. Mama Owl and Little Owl shuffled, hopped, and flew with the other owls all night long. When the sun peeked over the horizon, everyone knew it was time to go. Until next year, they called to each other. Little Owl followed Mama home until he saw a light in the window. He landed on a branch nearby. In the window were two faces with eyes as round as his. He sang them his best screechy song because, after all, it was Halloween. So my thoughts on this, I really enjoyed it. The ending, though, I think needs some work because this is a story of the owls, and it seems to wrap up really quickly at the end without having an actual takeaway for the owl. Because in the story with prose, there has to be a sense of change, or the character has to change in some way. And so there needs to be some kind of change. Like I kind of thought in the story, like the little owl will be pushed off the branch and have to learn to fly. There'd be some danger or risk involved. And so them just flying away and dancing, it seems like a lot about the humans and not much about the owls, when the whole point of the book is the night owls dance. So I love everything leading up to that. I think the takeaway at the end needs to be revised to make a more impactful, powerful takeaway for the owl, because it's ultimately the owl's story, and the owl doesn't know it is Halloween. And so that would be the thing. Nothing about, we know it's Halloween because of the story, but the owl doesn't know it's Halloween. The owl doesn't even know trick or treat, doesn't know candy. So the owl's not going to know Halloween. The little owl's not going to know Halloween. The old owl might know Halloween, but I think at the end, could you scroll on the end? I think it's the little owl that has the thought, because after all, it's Halloween. And so somebody would have to tell little owl it's Halloween that would know, because little owl will not know it's Halloween on his own without him realizing it or learning it. And so I think when between the night belongs to the owls and the end, to me, there needs to be more story there for little owl, because I was thoroughly enjoying everything up to that point, and then I was like, okay, he's gonna get pushed off a branch, so, and have to live or fly, kind of. So that's kind of my thoughts. What are your thoughts, Bethany?
Okay, I'm jotting them down. I will say I'll start off with the one thing that I really liked was when the little owl was taking the trick or treat and the costumes and applying it to his own identity. Like the butterflies, are they turning into caterpillars? Are they molting? Like that was super cute, like such a good connection from the little owl. So okay, so here's my critique. I think you only need one mentor. I think you need the mama owl or you need the old owl with little owl, but I don't think you need both. And in the beginning, there's a lot of trying to set the scene there that I don't think you need. I think it bogged it down a little bit. In some places there's an exclamation point, but then I said whispered. And so that is like exclamation is like, it's an exclaiming, but if he's whispering, it's a whole different tone, and it's not really. And I think so. And then another thought: why does the night belong to the owls? Like, why is this the night the owls dance? I don't really understand like that connection point there. I think that I was thinking that maybe this is the night the owls dance because everybody's in costume, so nobody's afraid of anything. Like they're not the scariest thing on Halloween, so they can be present and they can dance, and people aren't going to bother them. But in the opening, they're trying to be hidden and not be out and dancing. So I think you really have to connect to like why this is the night the owls dance. And I might even pull the line that you have at the bottom about like it's time for the dance. I think you should start off with that. I think that there should be something where like they're getting ready to do the dance or something, and then
Yeah.
they're being interrupted by the trick-or-treaters or watching them.
Make it cyclical, basically.
Yeah.
You're starting that this is the night. I like the juxtaposition of the dressing up of the kids on Halloween as this experience of like this is the night they have to perform, right? So and I like comparing it to the humans. I mean, I think there's a lot here that I love, and I do think that because the old owl doesn't really have anything doesn't add anything to the story, especially at the end. I would get rid of the older owl and just have Mama. I like, I think you just need to have Mama in the story. It makes the dialogue work faster. You don't really need that other mentor. I agree with you.
Yeah. I think the last thing too is the voice. So I feel like there were some places when I was reading where I felt like the voice felt like an early reader, like when kids are kind of reading those like level 1, level 2, level 3 reader books. Like little owl snuggled close to mama owl. They were out earlier than usual. Like you kind of have like, it's kind of these measured things. I remember reading them with my kids when they were that age and getting them to understand like keywords. And I think for a picture book, because it's the parent typically reading it, I think you could have a little less stilted writing in it. There were a couple places where it definitely moved more into a sort of literary sounding picture book, which is what I think you're going to need for this, is that voice. So I would look for where sentences could probably be combined. There was one place where it said tonight in the second paragraph, and I'll highlight it on here. Like, especially tonight, you'll scare them if they see you tonight. Every word counts in a picture book. And so like you've got tonight twice. I think that could be just combined into like one thought and get rid of like the tonight. I think there's some places that you could go through here. I think that this is a really great revision from that first draft we did. Like Kyle said, you've got a lot here to work with that you could make pretty great.
Yeah, I like this idea. Yeah, I mean, and using the owls is fun. Owls are cute. So I would say that's our feedback. So, so like, yeah, but keep going. I really like where it's going, but I do think there needs to be. There's a lady named Pan Zolman that teaches a class called it's called hurt the bunnies. You want to hurt the bunnies. Like there needs to be some risk and there needs to be some change in the course of the story. And that wasn't just about bunnies, about all characters in children's picture books, but yeah, not the bunnies. Yeah, I'm not talking about the bunnies, but don't hurt the bunnies in the bunnies, but like your character has to grow. And so the little owl needs to grow. Little owl needs to grow throughout the course of the story. So that's where I would say is what is the risk? What is the tension for the little owl, and how does the owl grow? But he has to grow on his own. Like it has to be the little owl who causes his own growth. It can't be mama does it for him. He's got to be brave enough to go dance or whatever, however you're going to make the connection. He's got to be the one to do the whatever allows him to change. So, because a lot of times I'll see stuff and mom makes the child or tells the child or reveals to the child, but like it really needs to be the child, the animal, whatever it is that has the own growth, because that's the way they like the stories. So yeah.
And I want to say too, for going back to the Father Bunny, just one last thought. I like how you did have pumpkins in here because Kyle had mentioned that. I like that the sharing is kind of the theme that goes throughout this, and then there is like a change. But to remember with this one, the change is with Farmer Bunny, not with the bunnies. And so I don't know necessarily how that would play, because the little bunnies are not the main priority, the Farmer Bunny is, which could be totally be fine. And I think for this one, I would definitely want to see it in with pagination to like where's the turns in
Yeah.
the book. But really good job on both of these. And
Great.
we went 5 minutes over.
Oh, great. I just got a question from an editor about Robin's book. So I just literally got an email right now. So not the one we read, but yeah, so I gotta go answer that email. Yeah. So and I work with Robin, so yeah, I think we've said that on here before, but
I'm
great.
excited.
Well, that's fun. So
But quick, go take your email. We'll log off. Right, bye, everybody.
I haven't, like, it's still
Yeah.
it's still blue. I haven't actually checked it yet. So I see like, oh, this is cute.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah. So I'll talk to you soon.
Bye
All
bye.
right. Thanks everyone. We'll be back with you next week.
Oh
So
no,
then,
not next week.
next week.
We will be in North Carolina
Okay. So we will talk to you soon.
soon.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.